It's time to talk about money coming into your school that you've never seen come into your school before.
This episode of the Christian Principles Podcast is brought to you by the Herzog Foundation. And as always, the thoughts and opinions expressed within this episode are those of your hosts and not necessarily of the Herzog Foundation. Welcome to the Christian Principles Podcast. I'm Matt George.
And I'm Mark Zockoll. Now, tonight we are blessed to be joined by our guest, Phil Puleo. Phil, we're so glad to have you with us. Please, you can do a better job introducing yourself than I can because you do a lot of stuff and you've done a lot of stuff. So please tell our people why you're here with us as we talk about money that they may have never seen before, money that might see, but they're going to see more of, and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, Mark, Matt, thanks for letting me join you tonight. And I'm going to tell you I'm excited to talk about the provision in the One Big Beautiful Bill because it's going to allow individuals to, rather than send their money to Washington, D.C. and let those folks spend it as they wish, it's going to come. You can actually control some of your federal taxes and you can redirect it to the Christian school of your choice. No better choice than not D.C., but your Christian school.
I won't argue with you there, for real.
Yeah. So you can tell I'm excited about this, and I'm excited about this because I'm excited about Christ-centered biblical education. I've served in Christian schools for over 30 years. 19 of those years was a Christian school in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, where I had the opportunity to merge two Christian schools together into one Christian school system. And I still have the scars to prove it. No, just kidding. Unity within the Christian school movement's a beautiful thing, and I had the blessing to do that. I now am in my 5th year of working independently. I work with schools all across the state of Pennsylvania, and I just figured it out that here in the 5th year, I've actually worked with schools in 5 different states. The Lord's been expanding my ability to just come alongside and help, and many of the times it's in the topics we're going to talk about. In tax credit program, we have one in Pennsylvania, there's one in Missouri, there's ones in other states, and there's one coming nationally through the One Big Beautiful Bill. And but I do other things as well. I come alongside boards and do board retreats and board training. I also coach heads of school, come alongside and help them. If there's one thing I remember about being a head of school is, boy, it can sometimes feel lonely. And sometimes I simply wish I had that one additional person that I could trust to really push off some tasks to that were really critical. I just didn't have time to do it. Well, that's what I get to do. So the latest thing I've been doing is actually a colleague and I have been going into schools, and over an 8-month period of time, we've been reviewing their policy manual, section by
Ooh.
section. And now listen, they're not outsourcing it, right? They remain engaged in it through their governance committee. But what we'll do is we'll take it policy by policy. We'll review it. What are some strengths? What's missing? How can we update this? And then we'll give them some suggestions. We'll talk about it. They'll make choices, and then we turn around and write the revisions to it. So we save them a boatload of time and really a boatload of risk by updating their policy manual. So that's been a lot of fun. Yes, I said review of policy could be a lot of fun, but hey,
Oh,
that's not what we're
absolutely.
here to talk about. So Christian
No,
education, passion of mine.
that's
Amen.
great. And you mentioned, which is beautiful, you mentioned that you did some work in Missouri as well.
Yeah.
In our discussion prior, we found out that we are actually like, brothers, not just in Christ, but also through our partnerships with the Herzog Foundation,
Great.
where you
Yeah.
serve as a stakeholder in the school box program. Is that right?
Yeah, so I've worked in the school box program for several years. I serve as a mentor for administrators who are starting Christian schools. And so that's a real blessing because, again, there are so many things flying their way and so many things to think about when starting a Christian school. And I have to tell you, since post-COVID, people are launching Christian schools left and right. I see churches re-engaging in their Christian schools. As a pastor friend once said at an auction just a couple years ago, they said the great experiment of outsourcing our kids to people we don't know
Mm.
has failed, has failed. And so there's this renewed look at Christian education and the value it is in developing disciples.
That is yes, bringing endorsement. Now listen, when you work with those new school folks, you gotta make sure you remember us CPP boys. You gotta drop
Mhm.
the little resource. Say, "Hey, there's a couple guys out there who just they talk your language. They talk with you. They are for Christian school principles and by Christian school principles." And hopefully
Awesome. I love
actually
that.
yeah, hopefully actually our principles timeline, which
Mhm.
we've been promoting on the show a lot, but we took 1 month, I look ahead a month every month of the year, and we created a timeline, and we're gonna put that in writing at some point and get it out to the school box to put in that, that toolbox of the school box where they provide all the paperwork and different insights into what other schools do.
Yeah.
And hopefully that makes it into the school box toolbox at some point for admins because you know what? They don't teach you what's coming up in July. They don't teach you
Exactly.
the top best 5 things to do in November or what you
No,
should
that's
watch
right.
out for in January because basketball
That's right.
season be nuts, So they don't teach you that. And we want to
That's
help
right.
people out with that. So
That's
we
great.
you carry us with you, we'll carry you with us. But
Absolutely.
speaking of the Herzog Foundation, we should go ahead and pause here and hear from our partners there at the Herzog Foundation and of course GradeLink Student Information Systems.
This episode of the Christian Principles Podcast is brought to you by the Herzog Foundation. As Christian educators, we know that liberty without truth is fragile, and truth starts with God. That's why the Herzog Foundation has launched the Faith and Freedom 250 campaign, an initiative that equips schools and families to connect the biblical roots of American freedom to the next generation. Having started on July 4th, 2025, and following through until July 3rd, 2026, Herzog is releasing short videos each Friday highlighting voices from across the country, educators, leaders, parents, and everyday Americans, reflecting on key moments in our nation's history and the importance of commemorating 250 years of liberty. We all understand how faith has always been central to our country's founding and why it still matters today. It's an incredible way to integrate history, civics, and biblical worldview into your school's curriculum, especially as we approach America's 250th birthday in 2026. Visit herzogfoundation.com to view their free resources and get started today. And make sure to tell them that the fellas here at the Christian Principles Podcast sent you. Managing all those different fees, whether it's tuition, lunch, registration, or tech fees, can be a headache. GradeLink makes it simple to collect and manage all those payments in one place. You can keep everything organized and make life easier for your school and parents alike. Head over to cpp.gradelink.com to learn how GradeLink can streamline fee collections for you. All right. Well, this is what we're all here for, right? We're here to talk about that one big beautiful bill tax credit, right?
Show me the money.
It's coming.
Don't. Maybe.
I mean-
Hopefully. We'll see. Not. We'll find out.
I want to assume that all of our listeners are very much aware of this, but Phil, we're going to ask that you just walk us through it as if we've no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
What is this? What is this one big beautiful bill thing?
Make us
Yeah.
smarter, Phil. Make us smarter.
All right. One big beautiful bill, July 4th, 2025. One big beautiful bill signed by the president. And inside that one big beautiful bill was one big federal tax credit program to help private faith-based schools. So it's called the Educational Choice for Children's Act. Now, I've heard recently it's going to be changed to the Federal Tax Credit Scholarship. So be it. But beginning in 2027, so we just launched 2026, but beginning in 27, there will be, for the first time in American history, the federal government will come alongside and support faith-based schools through a federal tax credit program. Here's how it works. An individual, so not a business, not yet, an individual can make a contribution of $1,700, not $3,400 if you're married. At this point, it looks like it's $1,700 per tax return, to a scholarship organization directing the school of their choice in the state of that scholarship organization. So sounds exciting, because in return for that contribution of $1,700, you will receive a 100% tax credit back. Now, I don't want to assume that people know what a credit is versus a deduction. So
I was
let me
gonna
give
say,
you a quick.
Please walk us through that too, because
Absolutely.
I've
So a
already heard that
deduction,
be a hang up for people already. So keep going.
absolutely. Credits are golden, and here's why. A deduction lowers your income that's taxable. A credit erases the tax that is required of you. So think about it as a coupon. Think about it as a giant eraser. So what ends up happening is you make a contribution to a scholarship organization, you designate the school of it's your choice. In return, you're going to get $1,700 back to lower your federal taxes. So it's dollar for dollar. It costs you nothing. It is literally, and I tell donors this all the time, we get taxed coming and going. I mean, we would take the rest of the show if we listed the amount of taxes, types of taxes we might have to pay. You don't get to control any of them except this one.
Mm.
You're going to be able to control 1,700 of your federal taxes. Give it to it, make a contribution to a scholarship organization, give it to the school of your choice, and you'll get 1,700 back in a tax credit. What you will end up doing is lowering your tax liability and increasing what you give to a Christian school dollar for dollar.
Mm.
Paying
Now,
less to the government, giving less to Washington, D.C., giving less for them to make decisions about, and giving more to your Christian school and allowing them to support a kid's education. Now, I have to tell you, there's some downsides. So let me give you the bad news. So the bad news, it doesn't start this year. It starts in 2027, right? So we got to wait. The other bad news is it's only for individuals, not businesses. The other bad news is it's only $1,700, a good amount, but people pay a lot more in federal taxes than $1,700. And so it's been capped at $1,700. Now, here's the good news. There is no national cap. No national cap, which means if everyone in America did it, the government would have to give credits for it. Here's the really bad news. And to my friends in Maryland, where we're recording this, the governor of the state must opt in to this federal tax program. I know there is someone listening who passed 9th grade government class. And right now they're going, wait a second, hold the horses. How can a state keep someone in their state from participating in a federal program? It would be like the governor saying you can't participate in the federal child credit program. Insane. You can't make this stuff up. So state by state, between now and the end of the year, will have to opt in on whether they will allow participants in their state, their citizens, to participate to benefit kids in their state. Let me say that again. The governor, when they opt in, they allow their citizens to support kids in their state through scholarship organizations in their state. If they don't opt in, you can still participate. This is a national program. You can give your $1,700 anywhere in the country to any scholarship organization in the country whose state opted in. And we may talk about this a little more, because if in the state of Maryland, if the governor doesn't opt in, millions and millions and millions of dollars are going to leave the state of Maryland and go to neighboring states.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the big push and the big sell from us, especially the states that it's perhaps not likely that our governor wants to opt in. Is we don't just sit back and be like, well, it stinks to be us, so good luck everybody else. No, we're still a big part of this, I think.
And a quick review of those states, by the way, the ones that have been reported to opted in so far, we got Alabama, Georgia, Iowa, Louisiana, Mississippi, Nebraska, South Dakota, Texas, Tennessee, Virginia. But the big one, one of the big ones, Colorado.
Yes.
Blue through and through, Colorado. The Virginia one's also interesting to watch, because Virginia, it was the governor in his lame duck phase 2 weeks before departure, And now what is I don't remember her name, but what is she going to do now? A
Right.
Democrat newly elected. As far as like declined, we are not participating. Oregon and New Mexico, they come out and said we're not doing it. Status pending. Like we're gonna wait and see what's gonna happen. Arizona said that. Wisconsin has said that. Phil, can you talk a little bit about what are these states waiting on, and
Yeah.
is it the Treasury Department doing the writing of it? Like, what is it that they're waiting on so far?
Yeah. So that's exactly right, Mark. What's happening right now is the Congress passes the law, and then the departments actually write the rules to interpret the law. Again, in ninth grade government, we learned that the Supreme Court interprets the law. Before they get to interpret it, the administrative state interprets the law. So they're writing the rules. The great news is there are some really pro-Christian school advocates
Yes.
who are advocating to the Treasury on favorable conditions that they should be writing it. So they're getting good advice from folks who are boots on the ground, Christian school leaders like the ones on this call.
Hmm.
And so we're hopeful that we'll see some real good rule writing, if you will. So many of the governors who are maybe prone not to do it because they receive, should I say, campaign funding from certain sides of the educational spectrum.
Yep.
And so they're currently using the excuse that, hey, we're waiting for the rules to be written.
Yeah.
We
Because
generally have a good idea what those rules will be. And so
Now,
what we've been doing is encouraging governors like Governor Shapiro, and I would hope your governor, Wes Moore, that they should sign this authorization, this opt-in, so that the money, again, the people in the state of Maryland, state of Pennsylvania, you're going to get to participate. It's whether that money is going to stay in Maryland and affect Maryland students. And there was some numbers I saw recently. They're trying to estimate how much people may participate. If only 1% of Maryland taxpayers participate, that would be over $18 million in student scholarships.
And
If
just
15% participate, it's over $275 million. And if 30%, just one out of every three taxpayers participate, it's $500 million of scholarships that potentially could leave the state of Maryland
right.
and go to the state of Virginia.
And I think that's what I want to park on just for a second here,
Yeah.
just so we're wrapping our minds totally around that. First of all, these SGOs, well, actually, another first of all, first A point. This is not money not going to public schools. Let's be clear. Let's be clear about that.
Okay.
This is not state funding at this point, and this is a federal tax grant. This is not me paying less money to Maryland. I'm sure someone would make the argument, well, if less money is going to the federal,
Right.
less money is going to be able to be doled out to the state. But that's a little bit. That's a little bit here. What we can say for sure, this is not me paying less taxes to Maryland. Maryland's getting all of the Maryland taxes they would usually get from me.
Yep.
This is a federal thing.
It is so important to make that point so clear, because the governor is opting out. That, I think Phil's already made that point. The only thing they're doing is saying I don't want to support our state's citizens to that level. Like, I feel like that's the only thing you can say by opting out.
Well, the other second part, the other point, 1B here is, it's not just Christian schools, right, Phil? This money could go to public schools. This money is whoever can get the SGO money, whichever school that SGO declares, we're giving this money to these schools. Those schools could be public. Those schools could be private. Those schools could be private Christian, whatever. Am I right?
Absolutely. And you're also right that another point is that it can go to kids who have learning difficulties. So if you want to get a tutor or special learning programs, right? A lot of kids are struggling post-COVID, right? We've seen some learning gaps. And so this program will help those kids greatly.
Let me ask, Phil, we have a body of listeners.
Good.
What is a good first step For our body of listeners whose governor has not opted in yet,
Yeah.
let's assume we got some good Marylandites in here. What would you be telling our Marylandite friends to do?
Yeah. The first thing I'd ask them to do is get connected to a group that's already advocating for this. So in Maryland, there's probably a group of administrators who stay engaged at the Capitol. I'd find that group and just sign up for their email to get updates.
Mhm.
The second thing I would do is find the phone line to your governor.
Mm-hmm.
Just pick up the phone and say, I hear there's a federal tax program that we're going to be able to give some of our federal taxes, and we're going to be able to take it from Washington, D.C. and give it to kids in Maryland. We'd love you to sign us up for that.
I want to say that I'm really excited, and every year the Maryland Association of Christian Schools makes a point to make a trip out to Annapolis with both administrators and students. And for years, Mark can attest to this. Our singular message has been, "Thank you for leaving us alone." Like that is
Right.
literally it. Like,
Yeah.
we're thankful to support you, and if there's any way we can pray for you, like that, it's a wonderful day of that. But I know that this year in particular, it is let's opt into this. There's no reason to not
Yeah.
opt in. So be praying for February 5th, the Max Annapolis Day, as we go and spread the news and try to apply a little bit of pressure.
Yeah.
And again, for those Maryland listeners, just so you know, that main phone line to Governor Moore's office, 410-974-3901. Say it again. You can pause it, 5-second rewind if you need to. 410-974-3901 to his office. Make yourself be heard. We are not an excuse for you not to be heard tonight.
What I've always thought is governors represent all of their citizens.
Yeah.
Some of their citizens actually the majority of their citizens choose to go to public school. That's their right.
Yeah.
Some choose to go to religious schools, faith-based schools. Some go to just private, non-sectarian schools. Some choose to homeschool. Some choose to cyber school. We have more options than when we were all kids.
Yeah.
But they're all Maryland citizens.
Yep.
They're
Yep,
all
absolutely.
Pennsylvania citizens.
Mhm.
So it have a hard time fathoming if 15% of people participate, why we would not want $275 million more coming into our state to have a positive effect on our kids.
Yeah.
Why would we give that money to neighboring states?
Mhm.
It's hard for me to fathom.
Yeah. And Phil, you've already mentioned the 9th grade government class a couple
Yeah.
times. Like, this affects them. Like, let
Yep.
them have a voice. I'm teaching government right now. I'm very much planning on letting each and every one of them give their opinion of, yeah, I would enjoy that assistance that we don't have opportunity for. And as you've said, historically have never had.
Yeah.
And the parents as well. This is definitely not a time to just be sitting on our hands being like, well, it doesn't start till 2027 and our state probably isn't going to opt in anyway.
Yeah.
This is definitely the time to be educating our parents, educating our students, educating ourselves, and just getting that word out there.
Yeah. And Mark and Matt, I want to talk to the school administrators out there. Having resided in Pennsylvania, this year, Pennsylvania celebrates the 25th year of the educational EITC, Educational Income Tax Credit. And I can tell you this, Christian schools have greatly benefited, because I'm going to tell you a dirty little secret about Christian education. Here it is. You might have to cut this out.
Oh.
Okay. Here's the dirty little secret. Christian schools don't charge what it costs, and we don't collect what we charge.
No.
Yeah, that's going to get cut out, isn't it? We don't charge what it costs. We don't collect what we charge.
I think we're going to cut it out and post it all by itself.
There you go.
New short for us.
But let me tell you this. Here's what we've experienced in Pennsylvania that has dealt with a state tax credit. When we are able, so on average in Pennsylvania, we fund our schools on about 70% of revenue, right? So we discount at about a 30% rate. When we fund our scholarships using our state tax credit program, and hopefully at some point a federal tax credit program, we begin to operate the school not on 70% of revenue, but 80, 90, 100% of revenue.
Mhm.
Here's what happens. Administrators, when you have more money to spend because you are fully funding your scholarship program through other people's taxes, you now have more money for student programs. You
Mhm.
now have more money to raise teacher salaries so you can retain and keep the very best teachers. You have more money for equipment, more money for facilities. Why? You simply have more cash because you're discounting 30%, but you're collecting that 30% through redirected tax revenue. And so this has been huge in Pennsylvania. I am excited for all the other states that now get to participate through a federal tax credit program.
All right, Phil, I gotta be the damper. I
Okay,
gotta be the not we wouldn't say devil's advocate. Let's
go
go with,
for it.
angelic advocate that I am over here.
Mark, you, angelic. Okay, we'll we'll
Okay,
we'll
we'll
go
take
with
it.
it. We'll
We
go with it.
live in poetic license in this instance.
Okay.
Listen, I am a Christian school leader. My
Okay.
school is 50 years old now. We've never taken a dime of government money. Let's say, okay, we're taking a dime of government money this time. It seems to be free and clear. It seems to
Yeah.
be it's to the parents.
Yep.
Excuse me, it's not to the parents. It's to an SGO. So it's
Yeah.
not even from the government. It's
Right.
okay, so it's washed well. All
Yeah.
right, great. I'm going to take this in 2 years later, we don't have this anymore. Phil, should I have even taken it in from the start?
Yeah. Yeah, the answer is yes to that. My opinion is yes to that. You take it. It's like our growing season, right? Oh, this apple tree is going to die, so should I take the apples now? Of course, you take the apples, and just like with apples, you're going to now figure out how to sustain it during seasons in which you don't have it. The same thing school leaders do. So
Mhm.
they don't become completely reliant on it. Second, they squirrel it away a little for a year that they may not have it or they don't have enough of it. Sort of like when you think of Joseph in Egypt, right? Stored grain in the storehouse for the years they weren't going to have it. So, yeah, so schools, again, we've been living on this for about 25 years. Um, the Supreme Court has supported it, that tax credits is not government money because it is donors' money or
Mhm.
contributors' money that never actually touches the government,
Mhm.
and the credit actually never touches the school.
Right.
And so there is no direct connection between the government and the school.
Okay,
But many
okay,
of the schools in Pennsylvania, they're taking precautions in the event the program isn't here in the future.
okay, so that's state level. We can say that answers the federal question as well.
Yep.
I got a question for you. You've seen the language. You have a better handle on what you think, the Treasury Department, whoever is making this language is going to be
Yeah.
spitting out ultimately for this federal tax credit. Back to my angel advocacy here. I'm truly angelic in what I'm doing. I am just a blessing to all mankind in it. When I take this money, the SGO provides me this money. I think true scholarship, I'm going to give it out to my needy people.
Yeah.
I hear you saying we've run on 70%, not 100%. That
Yeah.
makes me think that I'm going to artificially raise my tuition. That makes me think I'm going to have to find people to give this money to. What happens if what
Mhm.
happens if my Christian school somehow is, Lord be praised, blessed enough to receive, let's say I receive what accounts to be 50% of
Yeah.
everybody's tuition. I've been charging $5,000 in tuition. I raise it to 10,000 because I believe that's truly what is appropriate for my school. And I said half earlier, let me raise it to three quarters. Let's say I receive what would be the equivalent of 75%, $7,500 from this program for all of my students. Do I not use the rest of it? Do I return it? In your estimation, what you've seen so far from the language there in Pennsylvania, and perhaps what
Yeah.
you've talked with others about what will come out of the Treasury Department,
Yeah.
is there another way that that money, if it hits the SGO and then we have to ascribe it to families and there's still something left over, is that savings account money? Is that an admin cost money? Could you talk me through that?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, the there is income limits on who can receive this. So my understanding of it, so it is 300% of the median income in the county in which you reside.
Okay.
So I live in Dauphin County, Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
Median income is about $74,000 in 2023. 300% of that is a annual income of $222,000. So even if you're ballpark around there, every family that makes that amount or less is going to qualify for this. So I tend to tell school leaders, number one, make sure your tuition covers the cost of your education. Second, that cost of education should include a very competitive teacher salary. There is a biblical principle to pay the laborer their hire. And I used to say to my board as we were trying to help raise teacher salaries, I can't ask the Lord to bless my school if I am in open disobedience about paying the laborer for their hire.
Mm.
It's getting hot in here. Hot.
Yeah, sorry.
This
And
is
I
the part
will
we're going to
tell
cut out.
you,
We're going to
it
cut out
has
this part.
it has gotten even harder.
Yeah.
Student debt is higher than it's ever been. With inflationary costs, it's hard to live, coming right out of college and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to be incredibly aggressive in recruiting, retaining the very best Christian teachers. Because at the end of the day, while I did important work as advancement officer and as an administrator and a head of school and a superintendent, it is that teacher in the classroom that is implementing the mission of the school.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've got to do our very best. That's going to elevate costs. And those who can pay, we're going to ask them to pay. But those who need help, this is going to allow us to help them. We're going to have the scholarship revenue now to fund greater amount of assistance. Again, in Pennsylvania, I calculated compared to our state tax credit program, that income level would be like having 5 dependents, 5 kids. So it is higher than many of the state programs. And so you're going to be able to broaden the amount of kids you're going to be able to help.
Now, again, I help everybody I can. I literally run out of students. I don't take any more money?
Well, that's a great question. I don't know what the carryover is. Here's what we know, that the government's fiscal year is not a school year, right? Or the tax year is not a school year, I should say.
Right.
The fiscal year is.
Sure.
And so what we don't know yet is if folks start giving in 2027, in the fall or in the spring of 2027, will that money be available in the fall of 2027? Will the fall be available in the spring? So is 2027 money available for 27, 28 and 28, 29? Can I raise it in 27 and then give it in 28, 29? So that's unclear at this point. I know in Pennsylvania as it relates to the state program, which the state programs model much of what they're trying to do at the federal program, we actually have 2 years to use it. We have the present year in which they give the money, and then we have the following year. So we basically have a 2-year cycle to use those dollars.
Okay.
That would be my guess of where it's going. I don't know that that's ironclad yet.
Okay. I feel like we've taxed the brains enough. This has probably gone long enough for those who are jumping out of their seat to call their governor or jumping out of their seat to rewrite their tuition or whatever it happens to be. Too much joy in one episode is not good for anybody. So let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. No, but Matt, Phil, thank you so much.
Yeah.
We appreciate. Well, we appreciate. First of all, we just appreciate the opportunity for this to even be a thing. And
Absolutely.
yes, Lord willing, in Maryland, Governor Moore hears from us or has it in his heart to tap into this, and we will be blessed by it as others have been, and hopefully many, many, many will be. Both we and all of our private school peers and our public school peers as well, as we mentioned earlier.
Everybody.
It doesn't mean it's just going to come to private schools. But what we do at the end of these shows is we like to pray for by name a Christian school administrator, and then we like to send them, of course, a gift card from Duncan. So, Phil, do you have a Christian school administrator you'd like to share a little bit about, so we can, so Matt can pray for that administrator by name?
Absolutely. I wanna share about a young guy. He's a young guy. He's in his 30s. His name's Andrew Sickler. He has been at Northern Dauphin Christian School, which is a small school in the upper part of Dauphin County, Pennsylvania. Him and his wife were missionaries to China. His interview was at 2 in the morning. And that school had gone through a rough time, a single administrator over a period of 10 years. They had someone, and the last year of COVID, that administrator passed away from COVID.
Wow.
It was devastating. And Andrew's in his 4th year, and he has brought great stability to that community. So much so that if enrollment continues to grow, they're sitting at about 180 kids pre-K through 12. If that school continues to grow at the current rate, it's going to have 325 kids in 7 or 8 years. And so they're in the process of building a building in northern Dauphin County. And I get asked, because I live in southern Dauphin County, they go, Phil, why do we need a Christian school in the Valley? And I say, you don't understand the Valley.
Hmm.
Those kids deserve quality, Christ-centered education. And Andrew's working incredibly hard, running a school, trying to build a building. And I think the Lord's going to do it. And I think the Lord's going to use that young man, his wife, the staff there, that community to do something really, really special. But, just like Joshua crossing the Jordan, Moses leaving toward the promised land, it's not an easy process. So I just pray for strength for him, continued vision, goodwill, that folks would respond to him in a really positive, generous way. He's doing a great job. I'm excited to come alongside him and be a part of what he's doing. But he's a great guy, and he's working real hard, and God's doing a good thing.
Awesome. All right. Well,
All
let's
right, Matt.
pray.
You got
Father,
Andrew.
thank
Go
you
for
so
it.
much for Andrew. Excited about the work that you are doing through him there in Northern Dauphin. And I just pray that you would just continue to give him the strength and support, encouragement that he needs to continue the good work. And we look forward to the years ahead, and just pray that you would provide wisdom, provide support. And even as we're talking through these opportunities, I know we're thankful for the state opportunities there in Pennsylvania. I just pray that this federal tax would be just an added blessing to see Andrew's ministry grow, and just for him to be a light in that place for you. I just pray that you would give him a wonderful rest of his school year this year, and as he looks forward to next year, whatever decisions he needs to be making, whether it be with his staff, I know the building project, all these other things, Lord, I just pray that you would just guide him, direct him, encourage him in every way. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Well, we've
Thanks.
gone long. Phil, one more time, though, please tell us if someone wants to reach out to you and talk more about their school, what you do, your professional counseling services.
Yeah.
How can they contact you?
Sure. First of all, they can find me on the web. Yes, on the web. Phil G. Puleo, PULEO.com. And you can email me at the same, philgpuleo@gmail.com. And listen, you can call my cell phone or text me, 732-75-9960. I'm passionate about Christian education, and I love to come alongside and help.
Man, what a
Awesome.
blessing. All right. Well, folks, thanks for growing with us today.
We want to thank you for listening. We're honored that you spend this time with us each week. Our heart is to bring you practical conversations and resources that really serve you as a Christian school leader. One of the best ways you can help us spread the word is by leaving us a review and sharing the podcast with other Christian school principals you're connected with. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Join the conversation and share any posts that resonate with you. Every share makes a difference in helping more leaders find encouragement and practical tools. And remember, the podcast is just one way we help. We also love serving schools through speaking and workshops. Our keynotes and sessions are designed to give you actionable strategies you can take back to your team and implement right away. If you'd like more details, just send us an email at info@christianprinciplespodcast.com. We'd love to connect. Until next time, thanks for joining us on the Christian Principles Podcast.